Europe has in many ways been a pioneer of saving energy. Indeed, over the last 20 years, the European Union has saved energy equal to the consumption of France, the Netherlands, Austria, and Finland combined. And that's great. But now the European Union, along with countries across the world, have a new ambition. And that's aimed in part at helping humanity meet the safety goals of the Paris Climate Agreement, whose anniversary we acknowledge this year. And this new goal is the doubling of energy efficiency improvements by 2030. And this is going to require stepped up policies, new kinds of financial flows, also new technologies, collaborations, pathways to ensure energy savings touch everyone's lives, from the CEOs of large companies or medium and small companies to mayors, cities, and households. It's a big task, but it's already underway. Here in Belém, via a 6-part series, we at We Don't Have Time are going to meet the people from the corridors of power to those working at the community level. We'll also be hearing about amazing new ideas born from the European Union's funding of innovation and environmental projects under the programs Horizon and Life. The series is called Energy Efficiency First. It's a collaboration between We Don't Have Time, the European Commission, including its Energy Directorate, and the City Network, the Global Covenant of Mayors. So we've got 4 wonderful guests coming. 2 of them are slightly late. That's the Director General of Energy for the European Commission, and also Ambroise Fayolle, who is the Vice President of the European Investment Bank. They'll be coming soon, but we're very lucky to have 2 fantastic guests with us. We have Christine Just, yeah, and she's Deputy Mayor in charge of the environment at the city of Marseille in France. And we have Bertrand Piccard, the Chairman and Founder of the Solar Impulse Foundation. Bertrand, I'm going to go to Christine first, because she's an example of a city doing amazing things. And then we're going to come to this new work that you are bringing to this COP in Belém. So, Christine, let me ask you a little bit about Marseille. I have to scroll down, and here we are. It's a big city. You've got a big task job on your hands. You have big goals for renewable energy and for energy efficiency. Can you tell us a little bit about these?
Yes. So Marseille is the second largest city in France, as you know, and the largest metropolitan area in the Mediterranean area. So we start from blank, because when we arrived in charge in 2020, there was nothing going
right.
Concerning energy and net zero objective.
Okay.
So we decided that we were going to apply to the European Commission label called, Climate Neutral and Smart City. And we got the label in 2024. So that was one big ambition. We don't do it alone. We do it with a private sector, with NGO, with citizens, and it's going underway. We are hoping to reach this goal by 2030.
Yeah.
Maybe half of it, because the first half of this ambition is quite easy. The second part is really, really the hard task for everyone,
right.
For the world. Cutting by 2 your emission. Could be
very hard.
No, it's not so hard. It's a second that is really no more plane, no more oil, then no more fossil energy. Then this is going to be the hard part. But for the first part, cutting down the half of our emission, we are on the good track for 2030.
Okay. And when it comes to energy efficiency, where do you see the opportunities to actually decarbonize, let's say? Is it in the houses, in the small businesses?
Well, it's mainly housing, transportation, and we are a big harbor, and we have a question on maritime transportation, which is a more difficult question because the sea transportation is not only a question of the city; it's an international question. We don't catalyze the boat to use, the right fuel and so on. So we have to electrify the harbor, and we have to electrify vehicles, bicycling, and also reduce our energy consumption. Because in the winter, we have, like any other city, a cold winter, but maybe in the future, our consumption will be, the most part will be during the summer, because we are going to have hot heat wave so important. Right. We had this summer 42 degrees for more than a week.
Right. So this is cooling, yeah?
The cooling might be the main cause of energy consumption.
Yeah. Okay, we recognize another guest that's joined us from the European Investment Bank, and I'm having to scroll them down now with my well-structured script to welcome everybody. Ambroise Fayolle. Almost there. Give it to me from a French angle.
Ambroise Fayolle.
Okay, lovely to see you, Vice President of the European Investment Bank. That's cool. So, you two have a relationship. Bertrand?
We three have a relationship.
We three have a relationship in Marseille as well.
In Marseille, we have signed a 150 million euro loan.
Wow.
To the city of Marseille. I was there end of August to actually for energy efficiency in the primary school system. So I did signature in a primary school in the northern part of Marseille.
Okay.
And we are very pleased to I mean, there is a big need in terms of energy efficiency and, refurbishing and also making new schools in Marseille. And we see our role as the Bank of the European Union to support this very big initiative of the city of Marseille.
Right. That's very interesting. I didn't know that before I came on the show, so that's really good news. We have an announcement. I mean, that's always good news. Let me ask one last question to the Deputy Mayor here. You have a lot of inspiring European Union life projects.
Yep, sure.
And I saw there's one called Finistia. They all have weird and wonderful names, right? Finistia. Some of these are helping to answer old questions or catalyze new answers to how you deal with energy efficiency. Do these EU projects matter to a city like Marseille? Is it a good thing that the European Union has these projects?
I mean, there are so many things we could not be doing without the European Commission and the funds. First, the label I was mentioning, and plus we could hire, people because there was a lack of money first, but also a lack of people competent. With knowledge about renovation, circular economy, because of course, you don't create people like that. It's okay to have the euros, but we need to have people to use these millions and billions, because for the label, we need 15 billions and, up to 2030. Right now, we are missing 6 billions
okay.
to
so
obtain.
You need a bit more than double.
I know we need 15 billions to achieve our program. Okay. Right now, we miss 6 billions, but we are still confident the European Commission maybe will do this. And of course, we continue to apply to other funds. One, I don't forget the name because it's always a strange name, was we were able to hire 10%, 10 people, new people in the city to be on this subject, on this new project in the city.
Okay.
So it's also important, not only mono, but also to be able to have people on this subject. So the Finistia project, the main objective is to remove financial barrier to energy renovation, because you were mentioning housing. We have the poorest neighborhood in Europe, in Marseille.
Okay.
The third arrondissement, the poorest neighborhood in Europe. This is really a big task,
Big challenge to
big
change.
challenge.
Yeah.
So we have first we need to make a focus on those very poor population, very vulnerable household, to mobilize private funding for this territory.
Right. Things like heat pumps, for example.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have, I think, an experimental project. It's called Zero Exclusion Energy Territory. It's an experimental project in the north of Marseille, in a very, very poor and vulnerable neighborhood, to help people to renovate, insulate their housing, so they could be totally isolated by 2030.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Stay with us, Matt. Let me go to our friend here from the European Investment Bank. So I think it's true to say that probably energy efficiency has become, over recent years, a bigger and bigger focal point for the bank, the European Investment Bank. And I see just a few weeks ago, the bank pledged 17.5 billion to support energy efficiency improvements for 350,000, or up to 350,000 small and medium-sized enterprises in the EU. What's the strategy here?
Okay, as you said, energy efficiency is not new to us. In 2024, last year, we have done more than 7 billion euros of lending to support energy efficiency in SMEs.
Right.
So this is not new, but we think we are late and we need to scale up and speed up. And for that, we have made an initiative that is also consistent with the objective that has been decided at COP28, which is, the
doubling of
time 3, time 2, and the time 2 is energy efficiency. So we need to do more. And how to do more? Well, we have decided indeed in a big event that took place in Brussels with Commissioner Jørgensen of Energy, with the president of EIB, Nadia Calvino. Bertrand was there too, to decide to speed up what we are doing. Why are we doing that? Because we face what we call the energy trilemma, which is the difficulty of having at the same time energy security, competitiveness, and sustainability. But with energy efficiency, you have that. You have the three of them. You reduce emissions, you reduce the costs, and you increase resilience. And that's why we want to do more on energy efficiency. Doing more on energy efficiency in SMEs means more allocation of capital. And that's what we can do as a public bank.
Yeah.
Allocate capital, patient capital, so that we can support these projects. We hope to do, as you said, up to 350,000 SMEs.
Yeah.
For a bit more than 17 billion euros. That means more of what we already do. And often, we don't have we are a big bank, but we are based in Luxembourg, and we don't have networks in the countries. So what we do is we lend to banks, for banks to lend to SMEs that they know much better than we do. So we are going to do targeted lending to banks, for banks to lend for securing energy efficiency in SMEs. Okay. And we are also going to do something else with the support of Bertrand and the Solar Impulse Foundation, which is 2 pilot projects that take a different approach, which is the approach of servitization. So you are not going to use the money for example, for buying an equipment, if you're an SME, but the equipment will be brought to you, and you will pay
energy efficiency as a
using,
service.
exactly. You will pay as the reduction of the energy bill, for example, will allow you to pay back.
Okay, this is very interesting. Let's we've got a bit of time, so let's come to Bertrand. So why did you start the relationship with the bank on this? And also, I know you have 2 fantastic reports, but you have this amazing report here. Why is this special, Bertrand?
It's special because it's completely new. And just to explain you how I came to this initiative, after flying around the world with a solar-powered airplane, I put my foundation, the Solar Impulse Foundation, on the target of selecting more than 1,000 technical solutions that would be economically profitable to protect the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And what noticed is that we have all these solutions. Now we have 1,650 of them: systems, processes, devices, material, product, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
They can be used in everything because energy efficiency is not the efficiency. You need to be efficient in transport, in water management, in agriculture, in industry, in resource management, in circular economy, in waste management.
Right.
You need to be efficient everywhere. But efficiency, by definition, is something profitable. If you waste less, you gain more.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that about 2/3 of the energy produced in the world is wasted, which costs $4.6 trillion per year. So a lot of money is wasted.
$4.6 trillion.
$1 per year are wasted just because of energy.
We need $1.3
waste.
trillion for the vulnerable countries to help them take part in climate change. There's the money already.
But if you save this money,
Yeah.
of course you have money available for everything good you can do and also to run the companies much better. But there is a but. The operations are much cheaper when you are efficient, but you need a forward investment, a capex in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the money, you can borrow money to the bank. Ambroise was saying he's lending money. Okay, you need to be credible for that. You need to have money to be borrowing money. If you are not credible and you are poor, that's when you can the most benefit from the efficiency, but cannot buy it.
Yeah.
So this is where we decided to fulfill a dream.
Yeah.
Imagine a provider of solution arrives to the customer and says, I install my solution for free in your SME, in your house, in your city, for free. You don't pay anything. Once it's installed, you will save so much energy and so much money that you can share a part of the savings with the fund that has forwarded the investment.
Yeah.
And this is when I came to Ambroise and I say, Ambroise, help me to fulfill this dream. We can unlock the potential of efficient solutions.
Yeah.
Unlock efficient solutions. And Ambroise said, okay, let's try to do it. And we have 2 lighthouse projects, but we need to prove that it works.
Yeah.
And this is a report. That's where we
I hold it up.
did
to
it.
the
Yeah.
viewers, huh?
Energy efficiency and efficiency written with a euro sign.
That's
the
very
E,
clever. Yeah, if we put the
to
money
show
there,
that it is
we get it,
profitable.
Bertrand. Yeah.
It's profitable. And here you have 46 business cases of energy efficient solutions that bring money and that can reimburse the investment thanks to the savings that you do.
Right.
So this is what needs to be brought at the COP everywhere,
Mhm.
because the COP is speaking of decarbonizing the world, which is a big fear for a lot of people because they think it's expensive, it's sacrificial, it
Yeah.
degrows the economy. We say, no, it's the opposite. It's not decarbonization, it's modernization.
Yeah.
And when you modernize, you become efficient. Decarbonization becomes the logical consequence of modernization,
Mhm.
and you make money, and you offer a new investment tool
Mhm.
to the world for all the financiers who would like to invest somewhere.
So I don't have a car. I live in Berlin. I don't have a car, but I can get one with my app. You know, my app, I get the car, then I take it where I want, and then I just leave it on the roadside and somebody else gets it. So it's kind of dematerialization as well, a little bit of the economy,
Yes.
because you don't
What
have,
you do basically is that you sell kilowatt hours
yes,
instead of a heat pump.
Yeah.
You sell kilometers of an electric bus instead of selling an electric bus.
yeah,
So everybody can afford it. And that's important because when you are speaking about the 3rd arrondissement of Marseille, where people are so poor, they deserve to have efficiency. They deserve to have the benefit of this energy transition, but they cannot afford it. This way, they can afford it.
Tell me something. I mean, let's all three of us just talk a little bit about this. I mean, I understand that, as you say, the upfront costs of energy efficient devices
Upfront investment. I'm sorry.
Sorry for investment.
The
Yes, okay.
cost is you
Perfect.
lose.
You're
Investment is
You're
when you
absolutely
pay.
right, Bertrand. You're absolutely right. You have to pick me up there. But the upfront money involved is much higher than, for example, just carrying on with a energy inefficient system. But that's not what we want. We want to move to energy efficiency future. Yeah. So is this the model? Is energy as a service the model, or can other models exist within the same ecosystem?
To say it short, with inefficiency,
Yeah.
you lose money every day.
Yeah.
With efficiency, you invest once, or you borrow money, or you are invested by the fund that we are doing,
Right.
and you gain money every day. That's the choice to make.
Yeah. I suppose when I get nervous, Bertrand, you and I, everybody here, we've been long enough in this story because I get excited about what you're saying. And I think, okay, now it's all solved. You know, the problem's over, right? I'm sure it's going to make an influence, but there must be some challenge here. What is the challenge of going from buying the energy efficiency heat pump to actually it being provided for you at a cost that you don't pay the cost, you pay back some money over time? Yeah, you rent it maybe, or you lease it, or you know. Is this the full answer as far as the bank is concerned? What about the city of Marseille? Does it sound too good to be true, or not?
Well, it's too new. It's too new to realize. So far, we are just working because we need money to invest. Because we have so much job to do. You know, you were talking about our school. We were the shame of the France because our school were such in a pity state that we had to rebuild a new school. So far, I'm trying to think when I'm speaking what we can do with you, but it's interesting. Your boat was in our harbor, I guess, about a year ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I don't know. So it's too early to speak, but maybe it will be interesting, not only for a huge city or big company, maybe more interesting with a small scale enterprise or community or NGO to test this. Because we are now, you know, in a model, you have to ask for money to be. So maybe it's
But I give you an example.
Maybe we have to think different. You know, I'm a green activist, so I'm ready to think new every day. So
maybe we could
I'll give you an example.
pilot the idea first in
Give an
Marseille.
example.
Yeah, you know, 27% of your electricity is probably used for public lighting. If you replace your normal incandescent light bulbs
That's what we are
by
doing.
LED lamps
Mhm.
with a solar panel on top of them, so you don't need a trench to bring the electricity,
Mhm.
you can be completely energy neutral. You save 27% of your cost. And who's paying for it? It's an investment fund.
The
And then
public,
you
public
reimburse
money.
only on your savings. So you don't need to invest.
Mhm.
And this is what is so important because you allow everybody to have access. And when we speak of the just transition,
Mhm.
I think with Ambroise and the EIB, we are offering something that goes in the direction of the just transition.
Yes.
You're right,
Energy
because
for all.
public lighting is not a small subject, but really a huge amount of money. And one of our friend, green mayor in the north of France, changed all the lamp without saying to the resident, and he was diminishing the light. You know, 10% every hour after, let's say, 9 p.m. And he saved so much money that he changed school restaurants. He put solar system everywhere, and the people didn't even realize that, you know, the light was going down because at 4 a.m, you don't need to be at full energy. So maybe it's a good idea with
It's a good idea.
public solar,
Now we have
in the
to
outer city.
we have to move on because we have a couple of other guests we need to bring on the show. But I want the European Investment Bank to stay with us, if that's possible. Bertrand, we say au revoir to you now. Thank you. This is really good. We've given this a big show on We Don't Have Time. There are 2.5 million people watching this show right now in 150 countries, so they've now seen it.
And they can download it on the website of the Solar Impulse Foundation, get all the business cases.
Okay.
Then contact us because we are making this Lighthouse program fund with Ambroise and the EIB, and people can submit already now.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll be right back with some more guests in a second. So we've said goodbye, we've said au revoir to the Deputy Mayor of Marseille, responsible for the environment, and the great explorer and energy innovator Bertrand Piccard. And we're joined, I say we, because the we now is my wonderful friend here from the European Investment Bank. We are joined by two new faces and two new experts for the next 15 minutes or so. And let's say hello to Mike Umiker, who is the Managing Director of the Energy Efficiency Movement. Thank you. Hello. And also to Thomas Brose, correct? Director of the Climate Alliance, which is a network of European cities, including nicely rural ones as well. Because we sometimes have the big ones on, like C40, but we never get the ones where we've got a good mix like you, Thomas. And there's another story you have, which we'll just catch at the end. But Mike, I'll come to you first. What is the energy efficiency movement? And how can it help cities, but also the European Union, meet its doubling of energy efficiency goal? And the second question will be, what is the role of patient finance in this story?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Nick.
Right up.
Right up, yes. So thank you very much, Nick, for having me here.
Yeah.
So the energy efficiency movement is a network, is a platform where organizations, private sector, come together and meet. So today we're around 600 plus companies that joined the movement across the globe, covering 30 industries and 50 plus countries. And it's really kind of to showcase the examples that are today. An example that is, for example, that is always worth to mention is nowadays is also obviously on the topic on heat and with the cities is in Denmark the case of Odense, where excess heat can also generate energy for 7,000 households, and that's kind of the practical examples that we want to showcase, and the platform providing to lift this up and bring it to other areas of the world as well.
Okay.
So when it comes then to finance and obviously the role of finance, we have just released ahead of the IEA conference earlier this year, where we have been a partner to the Efficiency Now report. And the first barrier is obviously finance. Even though we see that 70% of companies have increased their finance budget, but it is still more than 80% don't know really how to move. And I think this is then where also the financial sector comes in. How can we work together for either blended finance or public-private or whatever innovation, energy as a service and so on, and also showcasing this. So maybe to add there another example where we have worked together with the CERN, where 800 motors have been identified for energy saving. And the result was almost 18% of energy can be saved with higher efficient motor. And that's obviously where you have then also this public-private collaboration to explore then how can you move the needle by financing it.
So Ambroise, I mean, when you where's my microphone gone? There we go. Ambroise, when we talk about this with you, and I mean, this is the private sector in a sense, clearly on board with this as an idea. You're funding the SMEs, you're also funding cities. What about the larger companies? Should they do it on their own, or do they need support too from the EIB?
Well, actually, they should and they are. And they are doing it because it is also a great source of savings.
Mm-hmm.
So when we finance a project for, let's say, as a bank interested in contributing as much as possible to emission reduction in Europe, of course, what is especially interesting is when we finance the hard-to-abate sectors.
Mm.
Because these are the ones that have the most impact on emissions.
Mm.
When you do that, of course, when you do a big loan to steel, to cement, to a fertilizer company, to a chemical company, and we do that every year, it includes one part, at least one part, which is energy efficiency.
Mm.
And the same way that you are doing doing projects, actually, yeah, it's exactly the same. Now, what I would say is everything counts. What we do for big corporates, what we do for small companies, what we do for public sector, what we do outside Europe is also extremely important. You said about cities. I mean, cities are absolutely essential if you want to increase energy efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have is a program that is called the City Climate Gap Fund that is done with the World Bank, with the support of Germany and Luxembourg,
Mm-hmm.
where, when you are in a city, and it's not only energy efficiency, but it's rarely only energy efficiency. It's always a combination. You have a project that is, if you're a mayor, like we had the mayor of Marseille, you have transport, water, wastewater, energy. I mean, this is a really complex situation where you need to do many things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We have instruments to help them, especially with early stage preparation,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can put in place a policy that works. That is accompanied in Europe in a program that is called ELENA,
Yeah.
that is only targeting energy efficiency for cities. And I was in the Basque country, for example, and they told me, well, this is extremely interesting because we know that we cannot afford to do many investments. We don't have the resources for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to choose the big ones, the right ones. And what technical assistance can help us with is make sure that the investment we choose is one that is going to have an impact on energy efficiency and on the quality of life of our citizens.
Right. And if you can get these kinds of projects right, then hopefully they can be replicated elsewhere and they gain their own, as it were, traction, speed and influence. Thomas, let's come to you a bit. The Climate Alliance, I don't know if you've had any money from the European Investment Bank, but you have got 2,000 local authorities in Europe. And do you see the smaller cities getting assistance to decarbonize their communities? Or is it still going to the big ones like Berlin and Stockholm and London and, well, London's not new, so we'll forget that now. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation. I wouldn't say that they don't get anything, but indeed, the investment is made more in the bigger cities because, of course, there is a big impact. But I think it's very important from our experience. As you said, we have more than 2,000 cities, regions, and very small communities. We have already a lot of communities who are 100% fossil free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have good conditions, like in Austria. They use the water, can use the biomass and solar. And the decision is easier because the mayor says yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And if he says yes, then things are being done.
Right.
In the bigger cities.
Sounds perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes or no, it happens or doesn't. Yeah.
More or less, yeah. But in your cities, you have a whole structures with different secretariats, which the smaller cities, they don't have.
Right.
So their advantage and disadvantage. I think, the rain is coming.
Let me tell you one thing, gentlemen. Even though we're having, I mean, they don't know there are 2 million watching this that don't know what's going on here, but they can hear you perfectly well.
Yeah, okay.
Even if we can't hear you so clearly.
I think it's very important to consider the urban area and the rural area as complementary.
Yeah.
Because we need for the transition, the energy transition, we'll need space, we'll need area, which we have in the rural area. In the cities, it's less space. You can use the roofs and so on. So the energy production will come mostly from the rural area.
Right. So you're talking about using renewable energy.
Renewable.
That's not energy efficiency, but that's the other side of the story. Yeah.
Both. Yeah. And also mobility. Yeah. So the people are going from the rural area to work in the urban areas and so on. So we have several countries where we talk, for example, in France, where we have metropole regions, which includes a bigger city, but also the surroundings, the rural surroundings that you have to consider in your plannings, in your strategies. I think this is very important.
Okay, interesting. So what's our collective opinion? Do we think that the European Union can double the improvements in energy efficiency in 5 years? Is this really possible? I mean, it would be fantastic, of course, to all agree that that's going to happen in this anniversary year of the Paris Agreement. If it can't do it right now, what could the European Union, the collective parts of the system do to make it go faster? Right.
So the short answer is yes, I believe. However, it needs speed. As we know, the technology is there. We need to have this cross-sectoral collaboration, cities, industries, but also within the industry sector. So that's very important. It has an advantage for Europe, so it can bring Europe to the competitive edge they want to be, and so therefore I'm positive, and we will make our work on our end through the energy efficiency movement to exactly showcase what is already working where. How can we scale this in other places? And use the network that we have, and that's also obviously, you know, when you talk about elements like Rise and Life and so on, that's our role as well to amplify this message, because it is known, but it is not known to everyone. But I still stay very hopeful.
Yes, Thomas.
Yes, I also think so. And we are already running a lot of projects financed by the EU Commission, like I mentioned, Life and Horizon projects. We have our own energy caravan campaign, which is going directly to the house owners and working with them directly. So I think we have the instruments, we have some financial support, but as it was said, we have to speed up.
The message of the European Union at this COP is we stay the course. And this is a very important message given the geopolitical context. Means the decisions that have been taken by COP28 2 years ago, we believe them. And we believe we are going to double energy efficiency. We at EIB, our plan is to double the investments in energy efficiency. We have also, because it is important for reducing our, increasing our energy security, we have increased significantly our investments in renewable energy, in clean energy. We have done last year 31 billion euros of projects. And that is also a way to make sure that we are more independent from fossil fuel, and in particular from fossil fuel of Russia, but also that we are contributing to lowering the cost and increasing competitiveness of our economy. So all this goes together.
So I think we need to start wrapping up here. We need to start coming to the end of the show. Amazing conditions here. Everyone told me that round about 4 o'clock in Belém, watch out for the big storm. And we just had one right now, yeah? If only we could harness the lightning coming down, I think we could have electrified this entire COP, yeah? Let's just one quick last thing, Thomas. The Climate Alliance is European, but some years ago you forged relationships with Amazon communities here. How the devil does that work? Just very briefly for the viewers.
So the indigenous partners are part of this alliance since the beginning and the founding of Climate Alliance 30 years ago.
Okay.
The idea is we have to do our work in Europe. We have to reduce our emissions. But indigenous communities are contributing to avoid additional emissions. Their territories, only in Brazil, they make around 13% of the national territory.
Yeah.
And indigenous territories means less destruction, less deforestation than outside of the territories. So we consider territory something similar as a city or a region, because these are geographic areas where people are living in a different way, not overconsumption, without overconsumption. So indigenous territories are important allies of what we are doing, because if they are not successful here, we will have to reduce also these emissions.
We're in this together, aren't
we?
We're in this together wherever we are in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So at the first view, it looks very exotic.
Yeah.
But if you look into the details, you see that it makes a lot of sense to work together. We have to do our work here. They are doing their work here, and we have not to offset the things, but do the things in parallel. And that's the basic idea of this alliance.
I needed to ask you that. We're in the Amazon, and it's perfectly relevant. Okay, so I'm now saying to my dear colleagues, the tech team here, that today's broadcast is coming to an end. We're going to close with an interview that was recorded in Rio a few days ago when the Brazilian presidency brought mayors together from around the world prior to COP30. It was with Teresa Ribera, the Executive Vice President for a clean, just and competitive transition at the European Commission. She was the former Spain's Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for the Ecological Transition. I think, along with her amazing assistant, Yolanda, well, Teresa is a bit of a we don't have time TV fan. So let's watch Teresa Ribera. Thank you very much indeed to our wonderful guests here.
Urban action is key. Mayors are the great committed diplomats on climate action. They are the first institutional phase where citizens realize whether we are successful or not. And we need to use this very powerful energy to develop, to boost, to improve climate action all over the world. The Global Covenant of Mayors is making this big appeal. And it is so important at a moment where there may be challenging aspects of the multilateral agenda to count on mayors to keep on doing, to keep on working. We at the European level count on different avenues of funding to promote climate action at the local level, to invest in innovation at the local level. We know that it is only part of what we need in order to keep on doing and improving. But at the very same time, we know that this can be a good way to de-risk the most innovative approaches to keep on building green agendas and green spaces in the local space, to find ways to mobilize the different solutions for energy, for sanitation, for mass transport, taking into consideration the local circumstances of the different cities. That's part of the domestic European agenda. And at the very same time, we also try to work internationally with other associations of mayors, associations of local authorities, regions that know that they can count on Europe, that can partner with their counterparts in Europe. I want to count on mayors, and I commit to work with mayors. I have been member of my parliament, member of my government. I'm part of the Commission of the European Union right now. But I know that the mayor is standing behind their citizens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We count on you, and at the very same time, we need you in the COP. We need you standing up, saying that you are not going to compromise the prosperity and the human rights of your people, because that is a very strong message that will help in difficult moments. With the local authorities that provide the services that improve the quality of life of citizens in the world, it could be very difficult to succeed. We need to build in adaptation, in resilience, to reduce the vulnerability of the citizens and the neighborhoods. We need to improve the services while taking into consideration the limits of the CO2 emissions, the clean energy, and so on, to ensure clean inclusiveness and jobs. So, align our efforts with those being put in place by the mayors is absolutely fundamental, is a must.
Teresa Ribera there, and to her assistant Yolanda for helping to make that all happen, and the Global Covenant of Mayors who are also assisting us there in Rio just before the COP. So that's the end of the day here on our first day at COP30 in Belém. If you missed any of our sessions, of course, you can watch them, reach them with friends and colleagues and others by going to wedon'thavetime.org and check out all this on our website. You'll find a full program there about what we're doing tomorrow and the days to come. And yeah, tomorrow we'll be back with another action-packed day of live broadcasting starting at 11:30 local time. I just want to also thank our tech team and all the other people working for We Don't Have Time to make sure this happen. These are the most unbelievable conditions. There are lamps floating around in front of me right now. We just had a major thunderstorm, and the air conditioning sounds like two major cargo planes taking off every time they crank up. So it's quite something here in Belém. But until tomorrow, goodbye and enjoy yourselves. Cheers.